Good evening, Malaysia. Here with the latest news, this is News at 10. I'm Brendan Paul. Let's take a look at the headlines. Former Tabung Haji chairman discharged from 9 charges. And PPD can no longer request students' data from teachers. The Shah Alam High Court today acquitted and discharged former Deputy Prime Minister Datuk Seri Dr. Ahmad Zahid Hamidi on 40 charges of receiving bribes in connection with the foreign visa system VLN. Judge Datuk Muhammad Yazid Mustafa acquitted Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid, 69, who is also UMNO President, after finding that the prosecution had failed to establish a prima facie at the end of the prosecution case against him, ruling that 3 key prosecution witnesses were unreliable and not credible. Judge Datuk Muhammad Yazid, when reading out his more than 2-hour judgment, named the witnesses as former directors of Ultra Kirana Sendirian Berhad UKSB, namely Harry Lee Voi Hyun, Wan Quaris Shah Wan Abdul Ghani and David Tan Seong Sun, who are the 15, 16 and 17 prosecution witnesses respectively. He said the court found that the notions of Z and ZH that appeared in UKSB's ledger did not prove that Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid received the monies or gratification. Datuk Seri Ahmad Zahid was charged with 33 counts of receiving bribes amounting to 13.56 million Singapore dollars from UKSB for himself as Home Minister to extend the contract of the company as the operator of the one-stop centre service in China and the VLN system, as well to maintain its contract agreement with the Home Ministry for the supply of the VLN integrated system. On another 7 counts, the Bagan Datuk Member of Parliament was charged with obtaining for himself 1.15 million Singapore dollars, 3.125 million ringgit, 15,000 Swiss franc and 15,000 US dollars from the same company, which he knew had links with his official function. In another high-profile case, former Tabung Haji chairman Datuk Seri Abdul Aziz Abdul Rahim was today given a discharge not amounting to an acquittal (DNAA) by the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court on 9 charges, comprising 3 for corruption and 6 for money laundering in connection with road projects in Perak and Kedah. Judge Azura Alvi made the ruling after Deputy Public Prosecutor Azlinda Ahad requested the court to discharge without acquitting the Baling Member of Parliament under Section 254, subsection 3 of the Criminal Procedure Code, following a representation submitted by Datuk Seri Abdul Aziz. According to Azura, the court opines that every case needs to be differentiated based on facts, and the main issue is the discretionary power under Section 254 of the Criminal Procedure Code, whether a DNAA or DNA order should be given against the accused. In exercising that power, the court needs to balance public interest and the rights of the accused as provided under the Federal Constitution. Therefore, Azura said, the court orders that the accused be released without being acquitted of the charges. She said the trial of this case has started and it cannot be concluded that the prosecution does not intend to continue with this case. Datuk Seri Abdul Aziz, 55, through his lawyer, had submitted several representations seeking for the charges against him to be dropped. He faced 3 charges of accepting bribes amounting to 5.2 million ringgit and 6 charges of money laundering, totaling over 972,000 ringgit in relation to road projects in Perak and Kedah. The trial began on 19 August 2020 with 7 prosecution witnesses called to testify. Former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak has been sent back to the Kajang prison from Cheras Rehabilitation Hospital, HRC, today after his condition has shown improvement. HRC in a statement said the consultant specialists from Kuala Lumpur Hospital and HRC have given the medical release and allowed him to be sent to prison again. The statement also stated since his admission to the hospital on Monday, the Perkembangan MP had undergone several examinations and rehabilitation treatments. He was also given lessons by HRC physiotherapists to carry out exercise techniques on his own. Dato Sri Najib was sent to Kajang prison on 23rd August after the federal court upheld a 12-year prison sentence and a 210 million ringgit fine against him for misappropriating SRC International Sendirian Berhad's funds, amounting to 42 million ringgit. Last Wednesday, the prisons department confirmed that the former Prime Minister was receiving treatment and further monitoring due to health issues related to stomach ulcers and high blood pressure. A new rate for Supplementary Food Program (RMT) device for teachers and facilities for special schools are among the requests made by the Education Ministry for Budget 2023, which will be tabled on 7 October. Senior Education Minister Dr. Razzie Jidin said the ministry is of the view that the RMT rate at RM2.50 presently should be reviewed, as it has not been revised for a long time and in view of the rising costs shouldered by canteen operators.
Bila berlaku peningkatan kos sebagai contoh, itu antara perkara-perkara yang mereka sampaikan bahawa jumlah ini kecil dan kita lihat bahawa impaknya lebih ketara untuk sekolah-sekolah yang murid yang tak ramai. Kalau murid ramai ni buffer dia lebih besar. Jadi sekolah-sekolah untuk murid yang tak ramai ni dengan kadar tersebut ini yang banyak yang lebih terkesan lah berbanding dengan sekolah yang murid yang lebih ramai kalau dalam konteks pelaksanaan dengan kadar sedia ada.
Dr. Razzie also hopes that the request for devices for teachers could be considered in Budget 2023, as the country's education system is moving towards digitalization. He said the ministry also hopes that the government could look into the needs of special students, especially those involving the facilities of special education schools, which are seen to be far behind compared to other countries. On another note, Dr. Razzie revealed that state education departments and district education officers, PPD, can no longer request the classroom assessment PBD results from teachers following the implementation of the data reporting system, which is expected to begin later this year. The Senior Education Minister said the new system, which is a platform to enter the assessment results of students from Year 4, 5 and 6 and Form 1, 2 and 3, would ease teachers' burden as they do not have to enter the same data repeatedly in different systems. He explained that the platform being developed would allow students' data to be shared only between teachers and the Education Ministry. However, the state education departments and district education officers could still obtain specific data with permission.
Kerana kita tak nak pula nanti bila PPD mendapat akses kepada data sebagai contoh, dibuat perbandingan sekolah mana dalam daerah ini paling baik dan sebagainya. Ini akan kembalikan kita kepada pusingan yang asal sebelum ini, di mana perbandingan dibuat antara sekolah untuk yang boleh menimbulkan tekanan kepada sistem, seolah-olah ujian akhir tahun ini pula merupakan satu benchmarking pula yang kita ingin laksanakan.
Dr. Razzie said the ministry could determine if a school needs their intervention through the data entered into the system, adding that the implementation of the new arrangement would increase the efficiency of the education system. The Ministry of Housing and Local Government, KPKT, hopes that the application for 100% stamp duty exemption for ownership of first-time home owners of properties priced above 500,000 and 1 million ringgit would be approved at the tabling of Budget 2023 next month. Its Minister, Datuk Sri Rizal Marikan said that for now, full stamp duty exemption was only for first-time home owners of properties priced 500,000 ringgit and below.
Salah satu dia kekangan orang nak beli rumah nak kena bayar stamp duty. Sebab tu saya kata kepada pemaju-pemaju, gunakan ini sebagai salah satu strategi untuk marketing all. Tapi dengan syarat kena beri 10% diskaun. Demikian juga 500,000 ke 1 juta. Orang tanya kenapa sampai 500,000 ke 1 juta kita nak beri stamp duty juga. Dia hanya 50% pada waktu ini. Saya mengharapkan kerajaan pertimbangkan untuk beri lagi 50% sebab kelompok yang beli 500,000 ke 1 juta ni adalah kelompok M40.
In addition, he also hoped that the Scheme Jaminan Kredit Perumahan SJKP, which provides financing guarantees totaling 2 billion ringgit under Budget 2022, would be continued under Budget 2023. Coming up, country's inflation rate in line with expectations. Stay with us. But first, the Keluarga Malaysia Cheap Sales JMKM program, launched nationwide in mid-August, has so far generated total sales of over 25.8 million ringgit. Deputy Minister of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, Dato' Rosul Wahid, said the initiative involving 5 ministries had also recorded more than 1 million visitors to date.
Dan kita di Kementerian KPHCP hampir 100% telah laksanakan program ini. Jadi sesungguhnya program ini memberi ruang, peluang dan kesempatan kepada rakyat terutamanya B40 untuk mendapat barang bekalan pada harga yang begitu murah. Contohnya macam hari ini, ayam dijual dengan harga RM5 sekilo. RM5 sekilo. Padahal ayam hari ini harganya lebih kurang RM8 atau lebih sekilo.
He said this to reporters after inspecting the JMKM program at IQI Mart in Kampung Beladau, Kepong, Kuala Terengganu today. JMKM is a rebranding of the Malaysian Family Sales Program, PJKM. The PJKM was previously fully implemented by the ministry with the support of the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industries, MAFI. The implementation of the JMKM involves the Ministry of Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs, KPDN, HEP, MAFI, Ministry of Rural Development, Ministry of Entrepreneur Development and Cooperatives, and the Federal Territories Ministry. Companies must shape up their environmental, social and corporate governance or ESG exercise or lose access to capital with a purpose. Finance Minister Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul Tengku Abdul Aziz said that the measure is crucial considering ESG assets are set to reach $53 trillion by 2025. Explaining further, Tengku Datuk Seri Zafrul said institutional investors carry considerable collective influence, with nearly 2.2 trillion ringgit in assets under management and roughly 750 billion ringgit in the local stock exchange.
In the spirit of fostering inclusivity in ESG, consider how you can facilitate and enable your investing companies' sustainability journeys. We must embark on the journey together if we wish to achieve a more broad-based, meaningful prosperity for our nation. So all of us are only all right, if all of us are all right.
Given their size and capacity, he said institutional investors can and must play a key role to drive effective oversight, catalyze future proofing and unlock value by actively engaging with their investee or portfolio companies. The minister also said effective corporate governance is a crucial tool in the ESG toolkit to help ensure that appropriate policies, processes and structures are in place for businesses to remain competitive and sustainable in the long run. Malaysia's inflation rate increased 3.1% from January to August this year, in line with market expectations of 3.2% for 2022. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department Economy, Datuk Seri Mustafa Mohamad, attributed the rise to solid domestic demand, elevated commodity prices and disruptions to the global supply chain. In a statement, Datuk Seri Mustafa said for August 2022, the inflation rate rose 4.7% compared to 4.4% in July. He further noted that the inflation rate in Malaysia is one of the lowest in the world, with the August inflation rate in the Eurozone was 9.1%, the United States at 8.3%, Thailand at 7.9%, Philippines at 6.3%, and the Republic of Korea at 5.7%. He said the lower inflation rate in Malaysia is due to efforts from the Keluarga Malaysia government that has provided the biggest subsidy ever recorded in the history of the country. Datuk Seri Mustafa reiterated that the measures taken by the government have managed to control inflation in the country and that such measures will continue especially via the Special Task Force on Jihad Against Inflation. He said the Economic Planning Unit and the Ministry of Agriculture and Food Industries will implement a study to identify quick win measures to overcome the challenges of food security in the country. The study is expected to be completed in 3 months. Votes for referendum to annex part of Ukraine begins. That and more in our foreign segment. Many of the Ukrainians exchanged the largest prisoner swap with Russia since the beginning of the invasion show signs of violent torture. On Wednesday, Ukraine announced the exchange of a record high 215 imprisoned soldiers with Russia, including fighters who led the defense of Mariupol's Azovstal steelworks that became an icon of Ukrainian resistance. In a press conference, together with ambassadors of the United Kingdom and United States, the head of Ukraine's military intelligence, Kirilo Budanov, said many of the soldiers have been brutally tortured, adding that some of the detainees are in a more or less normal physical condition, except for chronic malnutrition due to bad conditions of detention. According to him, the prisoners were detained in Ukrainian territories occupied by Russian troops, as well as in Russia itself. Ukrainian Interior Minister Denis Monastyrsky, during the same press conference, was quoted as saying that absolutely all of the Ukrainian prisoners swapped need psychological rehabilitation. The swap is the biggest exchange between the warring sides since February. In return, Russia received 55 servicemen and Viktor Medvedchuk, a former Ukrainian lawmaker and ally of Russian President Vladimir Putin, accused of high treason. Voting for a referendum that Russia is expected to use to justify the annexation of 4 regions, namely Luhansk, Donetsk, Kherson and Zaporizhia provinces, began today. The referendums have been widely condemned by the West as illegitimate and a precursor to illegal annexation. Voting in the 4 regions, which represent about 15% of Ukrainian territory, is due to run from Friday to Tuesday. The votes come after Ukraine this month recaptured large swathes of territory in a counter-offensive measures, 7 months after Russian military operation in the country. The referendums had been discussed for months by pro-Moscow authorities, but Ukraine's recent victories prompted a scramble by officials to schedule them. Russia argues that it is an opportunity for people in the region to express their view. Ukraine says Russia intends to frame the referendum results as a sign of popular support and then use them as a pretext for annexation, similar to its takeover of Crimea in 2014, which the international community has not recognized. Russia already recognized Luhansk and Donetsk to be independent states. Ukraine and the West consider all parts of Ukraine held by Russian forces to be illegally occupied. The vote in Crimea in 2014, which was criticized internationally as rigged, had an official result of 97% in favor of formal annexation. A blast rocked the Afghan capital on Friday afternoon after a loud explosion was heard in a heavily fortified central part of the city. It was not immediately clear who or what was behind the explosion, which was confirmed by Interior Ministry spokesperson Bismullah Habib. According to a witness, a blast was heard around the time of afternoon prayers in Wazir Akbar Khan, an area of the capital once home to the city's Green Zone, where many foreign embassies and NATO were based and is now controlled by the ruling Taliban. Tolo News said, according to initial reports, the explosion occurred when the worshippers were leaving the mosque. Kabul police spokesman Khalid Zadran said the number of casualties was not yet known and all of the victims are civilians. Several deadly blasts have taken place at mosques during Friday prayers in recent months, some of which have been claimed by Daesh group. And in sports, Vipers dominate rhythmic gymnastic events. Stay tuned. national football team head coach Kim Panggon praised his boys' mental fortitude to deal with any adversity, including conceding a last-minute goal during their Thailand Kings Cup match against the hosts yesterday. The South Korean said he had experienced similar late blows several times throughout his 25-year coaching career and was pleased with how the Harimau Malaya players reacted to conceding a late equaliser. Playing as visitors, Malaysia took the lead through a Lever Corbin Ong in the 32nd minute. However, Thailand equalised through Pansa Hemvibun deep into second half injury time to take the game into penalty shootout. Harimau Malaya managed to maintain their composure through the shootout, and it paid off when goalkeeper Ahmad Shihan Hazmi Muhammad pulled off a spectacular save to deny Thailand's fourth penalty taker, Supachok Saratat.
Expecting that we can cross the game with their finish, but it wasn't happening. It was happening. It can happen. In my 25-year coaching career, I have been these kind of things many times. But what our Harimau Malaya players show me, all the time, their commitment. Fighting spirit, confidence. So I was really our players. I think they are strong now to overcome this kind of situation. But tonight, I was fully trust all our players to do it. They have done great.
Meanwhile, Corbin Ong admitted that his teammates' coolness in handling the pressure was key to their success.
Not to take the pressure when you can usually straight, but as a player you can learn to deal with the pressure. It's a pressure in the game, it's a pressure after we concede, it's a pressure in the energy, but for professional players we know how to deal with pressure. And you saw the characters and all of our penalty takers, all of the players on the team, you know, deal with the pressure against the rest of the time.
He also expressed his confidence that the national team will be able to maintain their winning momentum in the final match against Tajikistan on Sunday. On to the 20th Sukma Games, Federal Territories contingent continues their dominance in the rhythmic gymnastic categories after bagging all 7 gold medals pitched in this edition. After claiming 2 gold medals in the team all-round event and the group rope exercise event, the Vipers team today added 5 golds and 4 silvers to their medal collection. Today's competition saw Valerie Ng Ziyi emerge as the most outstanding athlete with 5 medals when she grabbed an additional 2 golds and 2 silvers today. The 14-year-old athlete managed to perform an amazing performance to win gold in a club's event, while her teammate Nur Zafira Wong, Rudy Kurniawan and Jasmine Lau Jia Tong from Selangor took home silver and bronze, respectively. The national team athlete also excelled in the ribbon events to emerge champion, while her teammates Lazan Tan Li Hui and Jasmine Lau Jiatong won silver and bronze. Earlier, Lazan won the hoop individual apparatus event with a stunning performance. A similar script repeated itself in the ball event, with Lazan taking gold with a record of 23.200 points, while Valerie and Nicole followed her onto the podium. The rhythmic gymnastic events came to a close with the Vipers winning the gold in the group ball exercise event. Vipers team manager Clarissa Lee Ching Ching said she was very happy with the team overall performance.
This is out of our expectation because due to COVID 2 years we didn't manage to practice that much, but they did very well and they practiced very hard and we managed to hold up that goal.
In tennis, Roger Federer will team up with friend and rival Rafa Nadal for Saturday's doubles encounter at the Laver Cup in what is expected to be the Swiss great's final professional match. The 41-year-old Federer will play competitively for the last time at this week's Laver Cup, turning out for Team Europe alongside Nadal, Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic, the 3 biggest rivals of his glittering 24-year career. Federer, who has won 20 Grand Slam titles, has struggled with knee injuries in recent years and said last week that he would end his career after the Laver Cup in London. The order of play released by the organisers for the opening day of the tournament showed Federer and Nadal will play the last match of the evening at London's O2 Arena against the American pair of Jack Sock and Frances Tiafoe. Asked which Grand Slam was his favourite, Nadal immediately said Wimbledon 2008 to laughs from Federer. Wimbledon 2008 was a 5-set thriller that is seen by many as the greatest tennis match of the generation. It was won by Nadal 6-4, 6-4, 6-7, 6-7, 9-7 and had set the record at the time for the longest Wimbledon final ever. Nadal also said he loved how both players were able to overcome injuries in a short period and battle it out in another epic final, this time in Australia 2017, where Federer emerged the victor, winning the match 6-4, 3-6, 6-1, 3-6 and 6-3. Wrapping up today's news at 10, our headline for tonight. Former Tabung Haji chairman discharged, not amounted to acquittal from 9 corruption and money laundering charges. Do join us tomorrow at 12:30 p.m. for more updates on TV2 and saluran Berita RTM. Until then, it's lights out. I'm Brother Paul. Have a wonderful weekend. Good night and take care.